Mr. Mustaine, you need to start this riff.
I would rather be broke and living in a van again than condone people who are cheating the music lover.
There's a difference between bootlegs and pirate albums. If people make copies of this, for example, and sell it, that's wrong.
Yeah, sure.
But as far as I'm concerned, people can bring tape recorders, cameras, videos, whatever.
So
no problem. Yeah, help yourself.
How do you feel now about people, for example, filming you or audio taping your shows?
I know.
Not distributing them, but just doing it in general. Yeah.
I feel we have absolutely no control over that kind of a situation.
Music bootlegging is no good.
If you're sitting in an arena capturing footage of a band who's doing what they do for a living, performing live, it's not like you're stealing their live record from them. You're sharing their live experience.
Oh, yes! Fuck yeah, Sacramento! Hey! Welcome to the loudest, rudest, most fucked up place on earth, baby!
I'm a bootlegging cowboy from hell for 15 plus years, shooting hundreds of concerts, and this is your glimpse into them.
There were posters all over the venue. No taping, no audio, no video, and even no cell phone. Last row in the back, but there was a little bit of room just behind the seats. And the guy came up behind me, actually grabbed the camera right out of my hands, and took off with it.
All of a sudden, these four big, huge bouncers jumped off the stage and jumped into the front of the crowd, and I was like, oh my God, I'm about to get the shit knocked out of me.
They're the gateway to the people that can't see you live. Not everyone lives on every corner of the world.
Some bootlegs are actually better than the actual bootleg which comes out from a record company.
And so the security surrounded me and grabbed me by the arm really tight and dragged me away. They're like, didn't you know there's no taping in here? I said, no, I had no idea. I'm from out of town.
Bootlegging is not good, period.
Actually sold some of my videos, and I got in trouble with this with the FBI.
Here's a little story that I got to tell about. And me, Mike
I've probably bootlegged close to 120 to 140 shows, and I love it.
I borrowed a camera and filmed a show in '87, and then I filmed another one in early 1988.
I started with a full-size VHS camera, and I wanted to do punk shows at the Gilman Street in Berkeley.
I've filmed over 5,000 concerts all over the world.
In '83, I was 18. So, you know what I mean? I didn't have a ton of money. I was just getting started. But keep in mind now, I'd been doing this since junior high, taping shows and collecting. I didn't even know I was collecting. Next thing I know, I had boxes full of cassettes.
I started filming shows on my own without any help in 1990.
I started filming shows in Brazil back in 1986.
I started filming in '92.
I tried to film AC/DC on the Razor's Edge tour, but I didn't get the camera in. I had to learn how to smuggle the equipment in, and it took me some time.
My first concert I filmed was Napalm Death, Obituary and Dismember.
I started filming in 1989.
Metallica released a home video called Cliff 'Em All, and it had a ton of bootleg concert footage, which I never knew that video footage like that existed, and it just struck me. I'm like, holy shit, you can actually get fan perspective concert footage, and I was hooked.
Metallica came out with their own Cliff 'Em All video montage, and then I just knew that I had to be part of that one day. I looked at that and I said, that's the most amazing thing that really captures the moment.
The bands that I wanted to see, they weren't the Rolling Stones, and they weren't Metallica, even though I was a big Metallica fan. The bands I wanted to see and get videos of were bands like Operation Ivy.
I do the thing, black and white, get together, feel alive.
The reason I bought my camera was that there was this scene exploding at Gilman Street that nobody was really documenting. I bought my camera and I started videotaping things like Operation Ivy and the Mr. T Experience, and there are many others.
I started collecting live recordings on cassette, on tape, in 1982. Because I was obsessed with the idea of bringing back home a memory of the live concert.
I first got interested in it when I was doing audio tapes, getting audio tapes back in high school. First I had audio tapes and I started trading those, and then I got hold of some video. Me and my friends would buy video at $1 a minute, old grainy 8mm footage that we had to mail order. So $120 for a 2-hour tape.
There were shows like Midnight Special that kind of predated MTV, so I was exposed to some of that concert video type stuff on TV before MTV. Early on was Ozzy's Speak of the Devil concert with Brad Gillis on guitar just after Randy had passed away. And they played that concert. They aired that entire concert. It didn't come out on VHS until years later.
Around 88 or 89, there were more videos from Sweden and Europe coming. And then I thought maybe I could do this myself. So I saved up money and bought myself my first camcorder in the summer of 1989.
Every method you could think of. Basically, the cameras were about that big. Then I had to have a couple batteries that were about that big. And then tapes, size of cassette, microphone, and they would all be down my pants. I would wear 2 pairs of underwear, one to wear and then one to support the camera. And then I would wear really loose camouflage pants. And then I would wear a long flannel that would come down and cover my whole crotch area and my whole butt area, so you can't see anything sticking out. And then I would hobble in slowly, pretending like I'm talking to people, and turn around slowly, so I wouldn't be doing a normal walk.
We also had extend lenses, so when we were in the back of the arena, you could get some pretty decent close-ups. And with those close-ups, it just brought the whole concert experience. Because when I would do it, I would put it on my lap, because I was not one of those ones who liked to stick out and hold it up to my eye. I perfected a way where I piled up shirts and jackets, especially in the wintertime, and propped the camera up so it was about, yay high, and I could look through the viewfinder about that big, and I could kind of use my body as a tripod in movement, and it would be steady, fluid, and my eyes could still look and enjoy the concert while periodically looking down as well.
I remember one time asking my sister-in-law to put a bunch of her tampon stuff on top of her purse, and the camera was under there. So I used to look at the guys who were working the door, and you try to pick the guy you think you could fool the easiest, and the whole tampon thing on top of the camera to the guy that I'd have my sister-in-law or whoever, somebody do it. Also, some venues used to do the knock on the door. It was chained, but you could open it up just enough to get a camera through.
My grandpa, he was in a wheelchair before he had died, and I decided that I would use the wheelchair to get the video camera into the venue by it has a separate foam pad that was in like a zipped up slip case. So what I did was I took the foam out of the slip case, cut a hole in the foam where the camera would fit in the foam, and then slip it back into the slip case, put it on the seat of the wheelchair, and then have whoever sit on top of it, and we would wheel them in that way. And that way, they don't search anybody in a wheelchair.
I had a pact with some friends, so we went to this show together to a place called L'Amour's in Brooklyn, the rock capital of Brooklyn in New York. And we did it the old-fashioned way. I had a 6'4" friend tackle a 6'6" bouncer who was probably about 100 pounds heavier than him. Literally, just go at him, tackle him right there in front of the club. And the camera at that time was big. It was long. It was like, over a foot long and heavy. So we had it in a backpack, and then me and the other guy, we bulldozed right past these guys and ran right into the club.
The dirty gym clothes trick. You wrap your camera in towels, dirty shoes, socks, whatever you had, and pretended you came straight from practice.
Later on, I developed a different filming style. I didn't film like this, but I always found a good seat and put the camera on my legs and covering with a black shirt. and I was searching in the viewfinder just bending down. Later on, I found a nice bag, which I called a tripod bag, where I fit my camera, put the bag in my legs, so I almost had my camera here. And I was just doing like that, I could film everything. In fact, when I traded my private, everybody was writing a tripod filming. Actually, it was never a tripod, but it was always very steady, because it was either on my legs or in my bag.
Well, most of the times I knew the local promoters, so I usually get a backstage pass or VIP pass, so I could get in with my camera. Or sometimes I know most of the photographers that works at the concert, so they use it to get into the venue with my camera.
So this is the microphone right here that saved all our videos. And it just would not distort, would not.
What we would do was we would try and take a bag or a backpack and roll it up in a t-shirt and put a bunch of stuff on top of it and try to fake out the security people and try to sneak it in like that. And it was successful a few times, and it was unsuccessful a few times.
So the camera I bought in '88 was an Iowa CV80. It was about this big. It was 8mm, and but the problem is the lighting on it, the lux rating was so bad that everything looked really dark in the darker clubs I filmed in. But yeah, so it was a CV80, and then I bought a Sony ECM 909 mic that I velcroed to the top of the unit. So I had this monster camera with a mic velcroed to the top.
A long time, because the security checks were hard on metal concerts. I wear a trench coat, and tapped a video camcorder on a second belt, and it was hanging down. The video camcorder was hanging down my butt behind my legs, and this normally worked.
I usually never sat in my seat where the seat was, where my ticket was, because it could have been behind the stage, it could be wherever, and I would just like to sit up top, sit in the back, chill out, set up my stuff.
I also had a special bag I used with a lot of records in. I can show you. I glued together a lot of records, many of them. And I took a knife and I cut out the size of a video camera, and a box for the batteries and a box for the tapes.
In Stockholm, it was hard to get your stuff inside. With the security, they had the metal detectors in the entrance, and you couldn't get past them with much gear for recording. I found out that a friend was working with the promoters as what we call a clicker. You would stand by the gates. When the gates opened, you would click on a counter for everybody who walked into the arena, so you would have something to compare to the ticket stubs. So you'd see if there were fake tickets going around. If you signed up for this, you could walk in the back 15 minutes before the gates opened with your camera in a small backpack, and you didn't have to wear your baggy pants and bring all this stuff to get your camera inside. You worked for 45 minutes, then you went to find your seat, film a couple of good bands. For free, I might add.
Good evening. A heavy metal rock concert turns into a free-for-all at the America West Arena.
Today, Carrie Lake talked with people who were at that concert and shows us when things turned ugly.
It started like any Motley Crue concert, loud music and screaming fans. Brady Preston's been to 6 of these. This one he'll never forget.
At a point, I was really happy.
He carried in his own video camera because the band encourages its fans to do that. And he showed us how they started getting aggressive.
See? You guys are all fucked up. You know what? Get these fucking security motherfuckers out of here. Get your ass up on the stage. Fuck them. Come on.
Now Now here's what landed him in jail. Band member Nikki Sixx puts down his guitar and he kicks a security guard in the head.
In '93, on the Covenant tour at the Stone, Morbid Angel came through town, and you know, we were like, okay, let's go shoot Morbid Angel. When they started their set, they started playing. I started recording, and I realized that I had forgotten to take a little piece of electrical tape and put it over the little record lamp. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna hold my finger over it and hold it up, and I'll stand in the back, and hopefully they won't see. Well, that didn't work out too well, because I must have pulled my hand away, and David Vincent was up there on stage, and it was probably 2-3 songs into the set, and he stops playing and looks right out into the crowd and points out into the crowd, and he says, I see you out there. I see that little red light. What'd you bring that camera in here for? You know you're not supposed to have that fucking thing in here. I'm tired of people bootlegging my shit.
Yeah, well, that's a bootlegger's technique. You can't leave that red light showing.
Yeah, but there's rules that are posted. Not supposed to do this, not supposed to do that.
I was filming Kiss at Palace of Auburn Hills. It was in August. I'll never forget. I scoped out my seat. I purposefully bought the day of the seats when I got the highest seat in the upper tier, but I knew I'd have a great spot to film, and I did. And I got through the whole show, and I'm kind of nervous because some friends of mine got busted earlier in the tour, and they guess they put the fear of God in them. So the whole time I'm a little nervous, and I'm by myself, and all of a sudden I see this very well-dressed guy look up at me, and he's now at the bottom tier, and he's very well-dressed, very clean-cut, tie, and I thought, he had a blazer on, and he starts walking up towards me, and he gets halfway, and he just stares at me. Now, keep in mind, everyone's rocking. I'm sitting down, filming between the people who are standing, and he just seems to have his eye on me. Keeps walking up the stairs. He gets right in front of me now, and I'm filming. I got the thing hanging on my foot, and there's a couple seats empty next to me. But keep in mind, we're at the top of the auditorium. He looks at me, kind of bewildered, looks at what I'm doing, take 2 steps over, unzips his pants, whips out his dick, and starts taking a piss.
No way.
All over the seats, all over everything. Zips himself back up, and it almost was exactly the time the Kiss concert was ending. There's all these bombs going off, and this guy's just whizzing all over everything. The concert's over, it zips up, and he walks down, and I look around, I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
I was feeling Angry Malmsteen in 1992, and we were in two also this time in a very, very tiny small club. And after 70 minutes, his wife saw us filming. And since there was no security, because it was a really tiny club, he stopped the concert.
Can you do me a favor? I'm asking you, allora, please, if there's anyone out here with a video camera.
There are people filming the concert, and since there is no security, please search for them and stop them. They are becoming millionaire on my skin. I said, what? Millionaire what? I will not sell a single copy of this video. I will just trade with other fans.
At the Palace in '92, I went to go to the Ricky Rackman's birthday bash, which was Pantera, White Zombie, and Body Count, and Exodus. I actually ended up filming the whole entire thing. One of the security guards saw me with the foam pad in my hand, and he thought that I tore it off a seat upstairs in the balcony, which is kind of strange because they didn't have foam cushions on the seats. It's bench seating at the Palace, and I tried to run, and he pushed me up against the wall, took the cushion out of my hand, and he felt the camera that was in there, and he ended up taking the tape that had Pantera on it. I switched the tapes out, so every band was recorded on a separate tape. The thing that sucks is the Pantera performance was awesome because they did Beyond the Realms of Death and Rob Halford came out. Basically, he was calling me a dirtbag because of the way that we got the camera in the venue, which is, I mean, that's his opinion, not mine.
Ian Gillan, when he came with his solo band in 1990, we managed to spoke to him for about 3 hours, me and some friends. And after we spoke, before the concert, we said to him we would like to film the concert. And asked for his permission. He said, "You have my permission. You're gonna stay in the front of the stage, and we'll film absolutely free. They free to film everything they want to film." That was very nice. I filmed Ian Gillan from his feet.
Flag gets on stage and it starts just, I'd say 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Gimme, need some more. Gimme, don't ask what for. 1, 2, 3,
1. And the entire rigging of the stage started to sway. And you hear about these concert deaths where the stage collapses on people, right? With like Sugarland and all those other bands, right? There's all these tragedies that happen. And so I'm looking up and I'm actually pointing my camera up at the rigging and the banner comes down of the riot vest and all that. And I'm like, damn, I can't get out of here. There's too many people behind me, so I'm on the rail, on the front row with the camera. I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna die, but I might as well film this thing because, whatever happens, I might as well document it, right? So they stopped the set and they evacuated the entire venue.
One time was really drastic. I went to see 9 Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson at Madison Square Garden. I was actually filming the show, and then the guy came up from, I was like the last row in the back, but there was a little bit of room just behind the seats. And the guy came up behind me, actually grabbed the camera right out of my hands, and took off with it. Just ran. I chased this guy around the arena. I'm chasing him. He's running backstage. I see he's going backstage. I couldn't stop him. He was really quick. And I'm chasing him. And just as just about to grab him, as we're going into the backstage area, there was a police officer there. And he stopped me. He just put out his arm and just blocked me. And I was like, that guy has my video camera. He stole it. He goes, "You're not supposed to be doing this. You should get the hell out of here right now, or we're going to arrest you." And I said, "Give me your badge number." And then his buddy came over, and they both took me and actually threw me right out the door.
I don't know why anyone would ever ask me. Who the fuck asks to tape? You just tape. In my world, you don't ask permission to do anything. You do it until someone tells you to stop, and then you do it more until they kick you out.
We were crazy and we just wanted to do it and see if we could get away with it, and that was part of the fun. That was part of the rush of it.
Well, I think the first thing you have to take into consideration is who was there in the 90s. And were they there in the 90s because of people like me in the 80s? And people in the 80s, we tape traded. Now, we didn't do as much bootlegging as people think because it wasn't bootlegging, we were tape trading.
The trading of cassette tapes was how Metallica became known around the Bay Area. They definitely had equipment, and it was fully exposed, not hidden. And so I did a little research after that, and I discovered that Metallica had embraced that whole zeitgeist that was initiated by the Grateful Dead, permitting fans to record shows.
At some point, I was running around with another filmer named Crazy Willie, and we were shooting Metallica stuff, and the band just loved what we were doing, especially since they're all over those videos, and then they all signed that camera.
Because Metallica was all about bringing the fan experience, bringing the fan closer to the artist.
I think these bootlegs today are more important than ever. They captured that ferocity. if you know what I mean. It captured that. That's what those live shows were all about.
I had it down there, and I'm getting closer to the line, the security, and the camera slips out, and it's sticking out literally like my ass, and I'm walking. I mean, you walk in bow-legged to begin with, but it's sticking out, and as I get closer, and the chick frisks me, she goes, "What is that?" And I go, "Oh, I'll just go back to my car." And she goes, "Well, no, why don't you tell me what it is?" No, it's okay. I'll just take it back to my car. And she goes, "Is it weed?" I said, "Yeah, it is." And she goes, "Why didn't you tell me?" Go in.
Was very dangerous, and you had people threatened to beat you up, and you know what I mean, and you had to run from security guards. Now people can just in their first row in front of the band can hold up their camera, or you know, I've seen people hold up iPads now. You know, they just bring in an iPad. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Hard.
Wait, the light.
Getting this ear. Yeah. I want to say it's ear. I want to say it's ear. Stick that shit right in his ear.
Enjoy the video, Cammy. Pops, get you some.
The nicest, like Dio, Ronnie James Dio was super cool. He'd always take the time to meet everybody that was waiting, sign whatever. You know, I'd be talking to him and the bus would be started, they're ready to go, and he's just ignoring the bus, and you know, everyone's done signing everything, taking pictures, and just sitting there BSing.
The best one, the greatest guy in the rock world, everybody knows, was Ronnie James Dio, right? I was at the airport when Black Sabbath came for the first time, and they arrived at about midnight in São Paulo, and he said he saw me with the camera, right? And I got my CD covers to be signed to him, and he said hello to the camera. I followed him until he went to the car and go to the hotel. Then in the morning, I went to the hotel and I spoke to him for about an hour, and he saw me again with the camera. He started to call me Captain Video because I was walking around in the hotel with the camera all the time, and he saw me with the camera at the concerts. They played 3 nights in São Paulo. You know, he always, every time he saw me, "Hey, Captain Video, how you doing?" That was very nice.
When they're gone, they're gone. The music lives on forever.
show in LA. This band was playing, some kid got hurt, and they stopped the fucking set and refused to play until that kid got out of the audience. So that was the coolest thing I've seen on this tour.
This one is dedicated to Phil Taylor.
An often overlooked aspect of the underground bootlegger movement was the impact of music trade magazines. The Cowboys sold their bootlegged wares through mail order. Enter Goldmine magazine, also known as the Collector's Marketplace.
Goldmine was a very, very interesting magazine in the fact that it catered to the music fan of collectibles of anything. If it was vinyl, posters, video, cassettes, any memorabilia, you could find it in there.
I started out as a record collector. I collected all the albums from every band I liked. When I had everything, I started buying bootleg vinyl, bootleg audio cassettes. I later on found bootleg video, started getting my hands on everything. I still bought every album that these bands put up.
Putting your ads in Goldmine will attract anything. When I did the full-size VHS stuff, I was taking out ads in, say, like Maxim Rock and Roll, Flipside, advertising, hey, I want to trade VHS concert tapes. Here's the bands I like. Send me your list, I'll send you mine. Boom.
Goldmine magazine was the place to go to back in the day to find other sources, other people that had audio and video tapes to expand your network to trade with. Every issue would come out, more people would be in there, and eventually, once video cameras became mainstream, then people would start filming and selling those in there, and that's when I basically made the jump.
I would say Goldmine was the Craigslist in the 90s for music. A lot of people, a lot of us filmers putting ads in there, for our stuff, just to connect, and sell some copies to other music fans all over the world.
Goldmine was more for collecting news shows as they were being filmed. And obviously in the 90s, what technology was bigger. Now, home camcorders were really at their, apex, if you want to say that. More people were filming shows at that time, than at any time at all. The minute I started filming, doors opened for me because now I could get first gens from other people because I had first generations.
Goldmine magazine to me was more like a video update. This is where I would list like once a month all my new shows that I had done, and then people would see this, all the traders, all the filmers, everybody would see that this is what I did, and then they would list what they did as well, and it became more like a big trading forum.
Goldmine at that time was a changing point for me, because it was important to have contacts all over the world. You're gonna get to see and you're gonna get to know everything that was happening outside Brazil.
The heavy metal scene was spread throughout bootleg tapes, cassette tapes. That was the main source of communication between the fans. Usually one guy or a bunch of people, like 4, 5, 6, 10 friends, put together some money to buy one album, which was imported, very hard to find, go to São Paulo to go to a specific store to buy one album and then make tapes to everybody. That's how the music was spread. But nobody wanted to be rich with that.
I am in awe of musicians, truly in awe. I'm in awe of the creative process. I've watched it up close. I don't know music, can't read music, I'm not a musician. I've had some of the greatest guitar players in the history of rock hand me a guitar and say, Lon, you want me to show you a riff?
I think bootleggers, when they make a product, they know that they're stealing. They're thieves. You can't change that. They're thieves. And whether they're retired or not, you're a retired thief.
First of all, the term bootlegging implies that you're doing something wrong. And depending on who you ask, there may be some dinosaurs left that feel it's wrong. I feel that any opportunity to proliferate and exist on any device of any medium, anywhere in the world, is positive.
I always thought that the great part was to be on both sides of the argument when artists and management and labels be like, we don't want you to do that. It's like, do you know how crappy they are? Why do you care? They're crappy mono recordings that sound like, but you're stoked to hear it.
Well, I think early on, being a super big record collector, I'd be going through the bins, and now all of a sudden I'm seeing this section over here of these, quote, bootlegs. And of course, they didn't have the fancy cover. It was usually a white sleeve with some kind of color Xerox. It was Led Zeppelin or the Who or the Rolling Stones or AC/DC or somebody. So it piqued my interest. I mean, knowing that the concert experience was the ultimate experience, as much as we love the records, it's quite nothing like going to the show. So I was curious. I bought a few. Basically, wasn't that excited about the quality of it. Very, very short of what I would expect with a live album. You listen to AC/DC, If You Got Blood, of course, Live at Leeds, Love You Live. It's interesting, Aerosmith called their live album Bootleg because they had been bootlegged so many times. They kind of played up on that fact. It was like an official bootleg. And that, again, a very well-recorded album.
I think the way the RIA and the record companies decided to inflate the whole thing of like bootleggers hurt, bootleggers do that. Yeah, I'd say there are bootleggers out there that are only in it for the money only. They don't give a shit about the band. But bottom line is, it doesn't affect it. Most fans that buy bootlegs have everything. They want something special. And that's kind of like why I decided to do it. I'm like, well, I got all the records. What the hell else could I do? Oh, yeah, I could go to a concert and get it myself.
I've got thousands of them. I collect them, mostly Led Zeppelin. And believe me, if they put out the product themselves, I would buy it from them.
For me, I look at it like this. If you're going to come to my concert and you want to record my concert, I don't give a shit.
Bootlegging is not good, period.
It's not a negative. It's never been a negative. It never should have been a negative. The record industry pisses and moans about money all the time. Look at all the money they let slip through their fingers.
No, it's not wrong doing it. I think, what is unfair on the musicians is that they don't get any money out of it, So I think bootleggers could make much more money if they work together with the musicians. Because I'm the first one who would look at a bootleg and I would say, wow, it's amazing where you bring it out, and I can help you to even release this in Russia or the Far East or whatsoever. Then a lot of money could be made from a good recording. So this is why I think bootleggers should work with the bands together, should at least play them what they have.
I don't just play it off, I manage the band. I love having assets to promote. It's great when somebody tags off in a video. One of my favorite clips is us in Argentina. It's just one shot from like somebody got up in the balcony and just shot us straight on, and it just looks and sounds fantastic, and you can really get a sense of the crowd participating. You know, just going ape shit and like trying to, you know, jump on the stage and like clamor for the mic to sing the chorus, you know. I'm so glad that footage exists.
I think it's self-explanatory. It hurts the industry. Music bootlegging, for example, a doctor goes to school and learns how to fix people and make people well, right? So when he starts his first day of work, he's gonna expect to get paid for all the work that he's put in. He didn't study to be a doctor to work for free.
It's a business. They're in a business to make money, and so of course they're gonna vigorously defend their artists and their company, and they're going to say things and do things that are going to try to deceive the public and make them think that, you know, there's a huge bunch of people out there that are just raping the artists of vast untold sums of money, and I think that that's really a lot of smoke and mirrors bullshit.
There's a place in Tokyo where we play every year, as you know. And this guy there has every bootleg in the world you can imagine. He showed me bootlegs from Scorpions concerts in 1978, 79 in Japan. I didn't even know they existed. And there was some great stuff there.
I have over 300 Zeppelin bootlegs, and most of them I bought in Japan. And one of the reasons I went to Japan was to buy those CDs and DVDs.
I had an opportunity to access this tremendous bounty of buried treasure, this forbidden fruit.
Bootleggings probably brought me here. They gave me a slice of, I don't know, what life on stage could be, being a musician. It was so much fun to see raw performances of the bands. You know, those bootlegs made those bands being human.
Collecting this kind of thing has several dimensions. One is a psychological dimension, that you can get something that you're not supposed to have, not even supposed to see.
My main thing with bootlegs is I collect them, I support it. The only thing that I wasn't really for would be the selling of them. But again, I have bought and spent thousands of dollars on bootlegs, but I've never sold them. I was more of a collector and or a trader.
Being able to see stuff that nobody had, it was a real joy to be able to be that into music and to get that stuff and be able to see that rare footage.
Once you get into bootlegs, you get in hard because there's such a wealth there musically.
Music is the heart and soul of the world. Cavemen started beating on drums. Everyone has a rhythm in their soul that gets them going. Every culture, everyone on the planet, everyone loves music, and it's a primitive thing in you. And there's just sometimes, you know, you hear songs, and I could literally listen to the same song over and over 15 times when I am in the mood for a certain song. I just love music.
Sometimes I have to remind myself why I even got into business. And the truth is, I had to create business in order for me to have the freedom to do what I loved the most. Music is such a personal experience. It's incredibly gratifying, and it's instant. I loved it too much for it to be just a hobby, because I would have been homeless.
Language, how my soul sings.
That's a universal language that you can communicate with anyone on this planet, and they can understand what you're trying to get across, and it's like unsaid emotions that you can feel. Music is life.
Music, I think, for a lot of people serves as a touchstone, a link to the past.
Music is emotional. Music can transport all emotions you have inside. If you hear a certain song, then you hear the song and you are back in 1990. 25, you remember a moment very well that maybe also captured. So music is the most important thing in life, and I can't imagine to live without music.
It is the perfect form of communication, especially for me because I can't play anymore. The power and volume of a live concert was killer. I just had a lot of fun with it. Performing on stage was magical and a great feeling, getting an instant response from the audience. For me, music has kept me alive.
It is the fiber that fills the hole in my soul. It's everything that makes me be me. From that moment on, for the rest of my life, I just look for those. I look for those little band-aids, and when I find them, whatever, it doesn't matter what band or what genre or anything. I just, something happens and I love it and I feel it, and I just put a little patch on for the big hole. It just makes me feel alive.
Music is, to me, the one constant in my life that has always been there for me. I've had parents die, I've had my younger brother pass away, and the one thing that is constant and soothing, I mean, instead of hitting the bottle or hitting the needle or whatever people do, right? For me, it's music, and it's been the way for me to escape. That is my one constant, and that's my one love.
It does have an effect on everybody. I mean, look at little kids. They're like 1 year old, 2 years old. They hear music instinctively. They're already dancing or banging on something. It means something to people even who don't even know how to talk yet.
My first arena show, I was too young to get into a bar. 16, I went to see Elton John on the Yellow Brick Road tour. And my friend had bought me a ticket. He said, "You got to come check this out." I went, and as I walked into the tunnel, into the arena, I was stunned. I mean, between the girls and the beach balls, and there was obviously a cloud of smoke, and everybody was doing their thing. And then Elton John came out with the lights and the spectacle and the big outfits and the glasses, and I was completely blown away.
The stage is everything. It's worth it to go and be in airports and have like 130 hours flights and passports and visas, all that crap, that it's necessary to be on stage. Everything makes sense afterwards. So that's why we're here. That's why I do what I do. To be there and have that experience, that the truth, that really real experience. There's no faking, no cheating, just us jamming.
Just the whole overall vibe of a concert was just something that it was kind of indescribable for a little while, and it was just a lot of fun. It was good going with friends and just raging.
I live for the live experience. I don't think you'll ever be able to recreate that in download. And as much as people have really stolen the recorded work, again, the concert business is going through the roof.
It's religion. Gave me something to live for, definitely. Saved me from being an uninteresting person. You know, gave me a language to express myself. Never-ending well of emotion, both on the receiving end and when you're creating it. It's a magical art form, and I think it's the most badass art form.
There's a lot of adrenaline going on in the room, you know, a lot of energy, you know. I love that. I love that energy. And, you know, I think that's one thing, too, about video, like trying to capture that energy. There's some shows I look back on and you could just feel the vibe in the room, you know?
Bootlegging's, if you want to call it bootleg, it's fun. I mean, I am passionate about music. I'm passionate about artists, and I want as much music as I can get.
You know, taping shows, we wanted to capture that feeling. Sometimes you don't always capture it when you're videotaping, and sometimes you do. It depends. Depends on the shooter. If they could zoom out and zoom in and give you a different feeling for the show, as opposed to like something you might see like on TV where it's always up close. You don't see the fan experience part of it.
I think, you know, the more people film you and film your music, the more popular you become, you know. Obviously, I wish, you know, they would pay me for it, but it's the way it is, you know.
Concert bootleggers were the Robin Hoods of their time, except that I don't think they were stealing. That's what other people called them.
They're the gateway to the people that can't see you live. Not everyone lives on every corner of the world that we get to hit. So personally, in today's day and age, as opposed to yesterday's, it's even more, you can't avoid it. It's just too much technology. And you might as well welcome it, and hopefully you didn't hit a bad note and you're fucking, you know, your junk didn't fall out on that video or whatever happened. You know, it's just the way it is.
Band Styx. Originally, I met them. They would get my bootlegs, and they were circulated through recording studios in LA. And then they wrote me a letter, and they're like, "Hey, you know, could we get all the Styx concerts, all the Who concerts you have? We just need them." I didn't know why. I didn't know what it was, and then through contacting them through letters, I found out that they were big fans of bootlegs, and they watched them on their tour bus. And so after many letters and meeting them, they were great, and then they actually let me archive them over the years. And there are other bands out there that do the same. Every filmer I know has a band that they got close to doing this.
Any fan that buys a concert video typically has all of the released product already. They're buying this because they are a huge fanatic of the band and they want more. And so I don't buy that argument that that we're costing the record industry money. When people bootleg an album, a real album, and release it early, then oh yeah, of course. But no, I mean, otherwise this is supplemental to what that all was. And the funny thing about that is, I have friends. I had friends that worked at the labels. You know, Rick. I'm not gonna say his last name because he may kill me. But you know, he's a big guy at Warner Brothers, and we would trade. You know, he would send me. He would film stuff himself. He's a big A&R guy there, and we would trade back and forth. A guy at Elektra, I did the Old 97s, this alternative country band.
We've been doing this longer than you've been alive. Propelled by some mysterious drive.
Once you are identified as a guy that's not going to rip them off, they typically trust you.
I don't think bootlegging caused any harm to the music industry or any music acts. It only helped them. fans were looking for that stuff, and the people who bought it were, on the grand scheme of things, it was very minimal compared to, millions of records that these guys were selling. And these were fans, I believe, that had all of the merch, probably had all their t-shirts, all the CDs, and it was only good promotion, and then so these kids would make copies and pass it around, and guess what? These kids are going to buy tickets to your concert next
The
time.
reason I started collecting shows is because I wasn't satisfied that Led Zeppelin only had 8 albums out. It didn't do it for me. I knew if I dug deeper and I talked to other people, I'd find them doing Elvis tours.
You don't like crazy music. You don't like rockin' bands. You don't go to they're holding hands. You're so special. Baby, I don't care.
I'd find them doing these long jams. I'd find more of what made me happy. And how can that be a negative?
I think the bottom line is when you see a uniquely talented person, and I don't care what kind of music you're into. I don't care if you think Prince is a genius or Led Zeppelin or the Ramones or, one person's trash and another person's treasure.
My fans always asked if they could film our shows. I never cared. But one time our singer saw somebody filming and took their camera. I never cared myself, though. I might be wrong, but I think my singer took the fan's camera and smashed it. The fan was bummed, but there was no fights. It costs so much for fans to go to concerts, why not get a little souvenir? As long as the band wasn't recording for a DVD or an album. But I think the people that bought the bootleg recordings probably bought the official recordings first, I would say. Bootlegs are for the true blue fans.
What ticket prices for concerts being 100, 200, 300. To get the right videos, you have to get the right seats, and the right seats these days cost so much money. So what I was doing was I was asking people for money. If they want to see the video, I need money. So a lot of times, like in the past, I would just have fan clubs or people who like the band say, look, buy me the tickets, buy me, just make sure my expenses are covered, and I will do it. And if there was any money left over, it was put to the next show. And as the years went by, less and less people were wanting to do this. The fan clubs were getting dismembered. There was a lot on YouTube. So I actually sold some of my videos, and I got in trouble with this with the FBI. And they come in and actually come to my house, take my things, threw me in jail. It was not easy. It's not pleasant. It was a two-year mess with these guys, and I'm still going through it now.
A lawyer would say this is not your property, and you're taking something that you don't have the right to sell and putting it on the market. But who's to say that they're losing revenues? They'd like the extra revenue if there really is any. Not so sure that they're losing anything with somebody trying to sell something that they managed to capture.
What do you call stealing? What is it? It's stealing. Stealing is what? A crime. So it's criminal. They're thieves.
A good majority of the money that I made from that went right back to the music industry, be it the concerts or CDs, records, t-shirts, I'm a music junkie too.
If it was something that was available for them to sell and make money, then if I was selling it, I would be taking money away from them. But it was not available for them to sell and make money. Whether I did it or not, it makes no difference in the revenue.
And this will be a debate till the end of time.
There is counterfeiting, which means you're simply trying to replicate the authorized product. There is piracy, which means you're taking the authorized product and you're changing the appearance and trying to market it as something new and distinct. And then there's bootlegging, which means that you are giving regular folks like you and me, instead of Hollywood big shots or whatever, access to unreleased material. Clearly the court sees a distinction between piracy and bootlegging. They've said it many times. If you steal somebody's car, you deny them use of that car. But if you release unreleased material, you're not denying the holder of that material the opportunity to do something with it, if only they would at some point down the road.
You're shooting a movie made by somebody else. That's piracy.
Just shoot the damn thing so I can get it out on the street.
You loyal fans who like bang your heads at our concerts and pay like $200 for a ticket, $20 for like a CD, like $50 for a Metallica t-shirt, and like $100 for a genuine Metallica cock ring. You're all fucking awesome, and we'll never forget you. You fucking made us rich. You fucking made us popular. You got us under the cover of, you know, like Kerrang! Magazine. I worship you. You, the Metallica fan. Unless you downloaded Until It Sleeps from Napster. Then you're going to motherfucking jail. You're motherfucking meat. You'll be some fat, greasy, tattooed bastard's buttery cornhole.
13 years later, you know, it was what it was. I'm proud of the fact that we stood up for what we believed in at that time, and I think that history has sort of proved that we were somewhat right. And you know, the only thing that really bugged me about it was, you know, when they were calling us technically, you know, sort of Luddites or whatever. I mean, we were always consider ourselves to be part of the edge in terms of technology, and we've always been very open about sort of investing everything that we had financially back into the band. So when people called us greedy and money hungry and all of that, that was a little bit out there.
When it's someone that sold 50 million records and they got 50 million fucking dollars and they're bitching about pennies, fuck you, man.
There's got to be a new way, and there's got to be a way for a band to monetize on all, you know, I mean, you can't get it from everywhere, but there's definitely a wave of the future coming, because things will never go back to the way they were. So there's a way it's going to be all-encompassing. Bands can control more of the piracy and capitalize on more of all the little things they do. That's what I see the future as being.
We need to make it very uncool to steal. At the same time, I think the laws, I think Congress and the House of Representatives, they need to stop bickering. Again, this is one of America's greatest resources. We're losing thousands and thousands of jobs by people stealing and destructing of these ecosystems that we've built over the last century.
Yeah, I mean, look, what does it cost to make a CD? Pennies, and you know, these dudes are, most of them are they're just fucking leeches anyway.
If you're going to put my record up on a server and you're going to let people take that from me, it's not that you're taking it from me, but you're hurting my business, my band, all the band members' families. You want to look into my bass player's children's face and say, I'm going to steal from you? Fuck you.
YouTube is the biggest radio station in the world, and you get to pick what songs you hear.
I think YouTube's the greatest thing ever. You have to understand that the music is dying. So to be able to see acts and get fired up about it, like if you're 12 years old and you can watch Van Halen from the 1981 tour, that might drive you to go buy an instrument and write songs and learn how to play.
Downloading now is, in a big sense, it's almost the same thing as tape trading. It's just the technology is a lot more advanced. As many bad things as there are with technology, I believe all in all that it's more good, it's better, because you nowadays have the tools and the access. Demos or live recordings.
I think it's the best thing on the internet, easily. A show you miss on a Friday night, you can watch Saturday morning on your computer or your phone, anywhere. Usually the sound sucks, the picture is bad, shot by a cell phone, not by the professionals, but still you get a chance to see every show you want to see. And the old shows from the 70s and 80s, they're all up there. Every Kiss show, every Metallica show, every Jimi Hendrix in existence, probably up there. I love it.
Thousands of killer bootleg. Back in the day, nowadays just YouTube's a bootleg. That's your new bootleg.
You can get anything on YouTube now.
There are so many YouTube videos, and it is a video channel, that just have a static picture with a song on it. Make your 1,000-song playlist on YouTube, and away you go. You're done. Well, you know, it says like, you have to have the rights to this. Click, yeah, I do. Really? Is this yours? Yes. You have all the, yes. What's your last name? Smith.
I think YouTube really changed everything. Also the style of living the live show, but because now sometimes I see at the concert some young guy with a camera, but what I cannot understand is he's filming one song and then he stops for 30 minutes and then he's filming another song, and then just to put their videos on YouTube, but just 1 or 2 songs. I mean, in my case, I could not bear. I want to have everything from the first minute to the very last word they say. So I think the approach has changed, and also the availability, because next day you can just log in on YouTube and you can see everything of the previous night concert, many different cameras. Different audio style, but nobody's more interested in collecting the rarity, because you have 35 different versions available the next morning.
As technology has advanced, we see that recording equipment, video recording equipment, audio recording equipment has, over the years, because of the advance of technology, has gotten smaller and smaller, and more high quality and more high quality. And it's very easy to nowadays to take your little, whatever it is, your little GoPro, or, you know, there's all kinds of different products now where you can shoot HD video. High quality audio and stuff, and it fits right in your pocket. So it's so easy, you know. You see pictures shot from the back of a venue, and there's 1,000 people with their phone up like this. You can see the screens and the lights on their screens, and everyone's recording that. I think that's awesome.
The saddest thing that I see more of are people watching the concerts on a 2-inch screen at the concert. They're sitting there filming it, watching it on their phone. I'm like, watch the fucking show!
Sometimes I find whole concerts on YouTube and you see nothing on that video. You know, I don't, yeah, normally my friends say, oh, you are mad. Marcus, you're mad. You're going to a concert and then you sit there 2 hours working. You should enjoy the show. I myself enjoy the show when I come home and say, oh, wow, I have a great video shot. That's my enjoyment.
Back when I started, video cameras were this big on the shoulder, no way of hiding it. And now you can take your phone and get high def, albeit crappy, video like this. So night and day difference. Maybe 2% of the size and much more capacity.
Oh, the technology leaps and bounds. Let's face it, early on, I was telling you how you just take a cassette player up to a source, a speaker, and you do it off that. People now take in their cell phones and they film shows or film partial shows or film the song they want to hear. It wasn't like that before. It was very dangerous, and you had people threaten to beat you up, and you know what I mean? And You had to run from security guards. Now people can just in their first row in front of the band can hold up their camera.
I remember walking into executives' offices and literally talking to them in the early days of digital. And he turned to me and he said, "This whole internet thing is just a fad." And I put my head down and I realized they'll never get it.
They needed to keep up with the internet. For one, when Napster and all this stuff was going on and everything was being spread around for free, CDs are still $20 in the store, you know? Internet technology has killed the music business.
I mean, I'd go as far as saying that it's just destroyed revenues. I don't think that the sale of music is a business anymore.
Well, the record industry is done. I mean, here in New York, Sony had like a big building. They had the Hit Factory, where just about, I think they said like 65-70% of the world's music went through there. Now it's called the Hit Factory Condos, and there is no recording studio. And then Sony Studios, where they made a lot of those MTV Unplugged videos, and they most music in New York and the East Coast was recorded there, is now got bulldozed down, and now is another building for condos that went on sale like a few years ago. I mean, Sony was the biggest. They're out of the business completely, at least in the New York area.
I remember growing up on the Sunset Strip. I lived a stone's throw away, and I could walk by Geffen Records, Warner's, Elektra. They were all in that area, right on my way to Tower Records, which was one of the only outlets for buying music. These were physical stores that had a limited amount of shelf space. And because of that, there were a finite amount of records available. Imagine going to iTunes and being told that you had to choose between 500 songs. That's all you could find. That's what it was like. And the ability to go on Sunset Boulevard and look up in the sky and see a Fleetwood Mac billboard that was bigger than any building meant that that was one of the few choices that we had, and we were told what was available and what was good. You did have the opportunity to actually physically go into a store and preview something before you bought it. There were places where you could put on headphones and take a record out and listen to it, and they were called listening booths. Nowadays, you can go get anything you want, anytime you want, and you can listen to over half the damn song for free. And you only buy it if you want to take it with you for sentimental reasons, right? But listening and finding stuff is a click away. I think that as those stores disappeared, the record labels that would physically produce and own studios, which kids couldn't afford to rent, became less and less necessary. Then the idea that distribution, which required a plant, I like to say that the majors are basically in the plastic business and the trucking business. This is what they have left. Well, there's no more plastic to play, and there's nowhere to truck anything. You can imagine that a lot of their investment and their real estate is no longer necessary. I think it was a natural progression that those locations fell off the map.
I always loved it when it was general seating, because those that waited the longest in line were in the front row. Now whoever can pay the most for the ticket is in the front row. And in a lot of cases, they're not the most dedicated fans. I think a lot of artists look in the front rows and they see these people nonchalantly texting and whatever. They're little rich kids. They're not super fans of the band, and the bands get pretty upset about it.
It's now so regulated. You have to sit here, you have to do this, rules. I remember when I went and saw, I talked about this show earlier, when I went and saw Kiss at the Pontiac Silverdome back in 1979. You just ran on the main floor, and as close as you could push up to the front was the closest you could get. And there was people, I remember seeing people do things that I didn't know that people could do. You know, at that age. You know, but it was just that total freedom. People were partying in the parking lots. They were partying in the arena. And now, you know what, concerts almost have that sporting event feel to them. You go, you march like a good soldier, you sit in your seat, and now people go to the, you know, you know, it's funny because I'm a non-smoker, but it bugs me that people now want to tell you can smoke here. This is now the drinking section. I liked it better when you go to concerts and you do whatever the hell you damn well wanted to do.
But business changes. The music lasts forever.
Sweden Rock Festival in Sweden is one of the biggest festivals in Sweden, yearly festival. 2 or 3 years ago, they started to become taper friendly. They decided that there was no way to stop the camera footage and the pocket camera footage, phone footage, everything was all over everywhere. They decided to just let everybody film, take pictures, tape as much as they want. The contracts for every band have written in them that everybody in the audience can videotape, audio tape, or take photos of their show without being stopped. And every band so far that they have come up with this contract to have signed it without any hesitation. I think this is the future for festivals and everywhere. Let people film, let people do their stuff. It's not hurting anybody. It's getting on YouTube, it's getting on your TV. It's not taking your money.
I'm gonna keep on taping until, and who knows until, but I just can't wait until the day that nobody fucks with me.
When you get that concert bug bite, you know, some of us are just going to take it upon ourselves and go, I want to go home with that. I want to go home with the memory of that. And the fact that some of us took the time and effort to do that, we captured history. We captured some amazing bands, some amazing concerts all across the world.
If I think about it back now, it'd have been cool to get some of that and take it home and watch it myself and share it with my friends. I think that's where the early bootlegger mind came from, is that this is so cool what I'm seeing. I need to share this. What are we in? We're in a whole generation growing up on sharing. We're not even living in the moment anymore. We're not even living anymore. We are living to chronicle what we just experienced. And that's kind of like why this sort of makes sense to a certain degree, is I know I'm in a great moment. I know I'm experiencing something. It's a different age. I'm going to share it. And that's what those visionary old bootleggers had in their head. Like, this is too cool to keep to myself.
Guns N' Roses came to town in '93. They played Sacramento's Arco Arena. Dale and myself snuck in our cameras, filmed the show. Well, midway through the show, Axl decides to just go, "Oh, we're in Metallica territory, aren't we? Well, you know what? I want to talk about James right now. what a fucking racist he is and this and that. And I'm just listening to this tirade, and he's just saying Metallica are a bunch of dicks, Metallica are a bunch of fucking people who don't pay their people and this and that. So he just starts going off on them. And I'm just looking through my camera going, oh my God, I got something here that it's almost like a TMZ moment. And before TMZ.
We're here on somebody else's turf in a way. Some people we used to like to think that we were homeboys or something. I'm gonna talk about maybe your good friends, I don't know, Metallica for a minute. Let me tell you a couple things about Metallica. First off, they do a lot of bitching for a band who got paid about 20-30% more than fucking what they deserved at a show because they didn't bring that much. Ooh, Axel's talking now. We're listening to that. Who's he think he is? I'll tell you who I think I am. I thought I was friends with these people. You know, I don't know how long they were on the road, but there was nobody in their crew that had ever got a bonus or paid anything extra for working their fucking ass off and slaving for that man. I pretty much watched a lot of people get treated like shit, and it wasn't very enjoyable. I watched a man named James prove that, you know, see, since I'm supposed to be the rock racist, because I used a word once, I watched a man show me that he was a motherfucking racist. Had a real big problem with Ice-T and any black bands, actually. You know, and rap is really terrible in black bands, and just can't handle that kind of thing. I watched them be really shitty to black people that work with us. That wasn't very enjoyable. I watched them diss on other people like Sebastian and shit. People that like love this fucking band. They love Metallica. They would like fucking do anything for that band. But Metallica don't give a shit. Lars don't give a shit. Motherfucker calls me at 4 in the morning trying to kiss my ass and stuff. And it's like, but I can't trust the motherfucker. Because they're gonna take it and figure out where to go make some more money. Like the time that we sat around writing a video for Don't Cry and we talked about being underwater and showing all these things, and then Lars runs home and writes a video. And the cool thing about it is, he copped to it. Yeah, I was ripping you guys off. I'm gonna dedicate this to these people who like to run fucking little videos with people saying, fuck you, this ain't the Guns N' Roses tour, this is Metallica. Who say things like, oh, that was just a joke because we're friends. It's like, you ain't no fucking friend of mine, you fucking stupid little fucking dead-born cocksucker.
As soon as I saw that, I'm just like, all right, I am wrapping this thing as tight as possible, holding to my body, and I'm like, I have to get out of this building. And I thought a riot was going to happen inside. I really did. And maybe Dale thought that too. We'll have to ask him later. But as the story goes, I get out and I get home and I get a phone call, and it's Otto. And Otto goes, hey man, did you get that Guns N' Roses show tonight? I'm like, yeah, how'd you know about it? And he goes, some roadie called him up, a friend of mine. He's like, dude, Axl went off on Metallica, right? And yeah, he did. And he goes, dude, you have gold in that tape. That tape is now going to make you entry into Metallica. I'm like, how so? And he goes, Metallica wants that tape. I said, really? Okay. So he passed on my name, and he said, Q Prime Management is going to contact me and tomorrow morning, and she's going to discuss what do you want for the tape. And I tried to get footage because I wanted to utilize that tape because I was a big Metallica fan. I wanted to get Cliff footage, and they would not give it up. But they decided, oh, okay, well, we still want the tape. We want you to FedEx it to us. Here's our FedEx number. But we'll take care of you. We'll send you, like, just tons of stuff. And they ended up doing that, and they even said, oh, yeah, And now any show you want that Q Prime Management manages, you can get in for free. I'm like, wow. Okay. So as it goes, they get the tape. Well, the issue of Kerrang! Magazine comes out, I think like a week later, and it has transcripted that entire tirade of what Axl said on stage in print. And I'm reading this and I'm going, that had to have come from my tape. That had to have come from my tape. No one could do that word for word. And I was like, did I just start a war with Metallica and Guns N' Roses?
One, take one.
I'll let you know when it's action, Gary.
Okay.
Recording. Clap, Gary. Clap. Okay, slam it shut. Slam it shut so it makes a noise.
Remember Caveman?
Oh, Caveman!
Dancing on stage during Spoon
Dude,
Man?
remember Caveman? Oh my God, that guy
He was
was
on
always
the show.
with the furry boots and the furry codpiece. He used to show up at these
Yep.
shows and go dancing around. And we all thought he was crazy, but everybody loved him.
He looked literally like a caveman. And when Pantera, every tour they came around and they played San Jose, Oakland, San Francisco, he would bring them out onto the stage.
They pulled him up onto
Every
the
one of
stage.
us has footage of him.
Yeah.
We'll have to put him on there.
That's great.
He had a business
Tribute
card
to the caveman.
that said Willie the Wonder Meat. The meat that can't be beat.
Oh my God.
I didn't
That
know
guy was
Yeah.
nutty, dude.
Yeah, he was in all the shows.
Awesome. Yeah, he would play air drums. He was
Yeah.
crazy.
Fucking he'd kick.
Yeah, like furry boots up to here and a furry loincloth,
Dude,
hair down to
when
here,
Phil-
bare-chested.
When Phil would introduce him, he's like, oh, we got a special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, the Caveman.
Yeah. So he'd come out and do his thing, and you'd be like watching the members of the band. He'd be doing this on the stage. The whole crowd is watching him, and you can see the band members, and they're like, "Oh my God!" Fucking, they're laughing their asses off. It was awesome.